Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. David, it is really great talking to you today. I rewatched The Green Mile the other day, and it's such a stunning film all over again. It never gets old, and I'm just a huge Stephen King fan. So congrats on just being a part of the legacy of that movie.
I'm a very fortunate human being to be a part of that.
Yeah. Now, like I said, Stephen King is my favorite author. I love his work, and you've done a few of his adaptations. What is
Yeah.
it about him as a writer that keeps you coming back? And why was Frank Darabont such a good adapter of his work?
Well, first of all, Stephen writes fantastic characters, and I mean, just look at the Green Mile; it's just filled with them. But the other things I did, Hearts in Atlantis, the Langoliers, I've done audiobooks for him, which are a blast. He has, amazing ideas about stories to tell, and then he tells them with fantastic characters. So there really isn't much more you could ask for, except to have a great adapter like Frank.
Mhm.
And I think at the time, and it may still be true, Stephen said that it probably was his favorite adaptation of one of his stories, which actually was originally the series of novellas, these books.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
I bought all those little novellas. They're up in my library upstairs. At the time they were released, I remember watching The Langoliers when I was a kid on ABC, I think it was.
Yeah.
I just love his work. Now, we lost Michael Clarke Duncan a few years ago, and he was so brilliant in The Green Mile. What do you remember about your time together on set?
The thing that it's, you think about a man who had really not acted for most of his life. And there he was with some of the best actors you could ever hope for, surrounded by them. And he brought his complete heart to this movie, and that amazing soul that he had. And of course, that voice. But he had really gone through things in his life. And I think that's what really gave him that soul. He grew up in a tough world in Chicago. And he knew what that was like, and he had a real humility to him, a real love to him, and you couldn't ask for more, really.
Yeah, I mean, his character John Coffey is such a special individual. What does that character represent for you? And do you think that there are John Coffeys out there in this world? Maybe not with the powers, obviously, but like what he represents.
Well, he was in pain. John Coffey was in pain, and part of what he was in pain from was his vulnerability. You think about that combination, the vulnerability in that man, that huge man. And of course, there are people who have that vulnerability, but he had an insight to our experience here, that was some ways a gift to him and some ways a curse to him. And I'm sure there are people who have that same sort of thing. And it's hard to live with, but it's a beautiful thing.
Now, the movie was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. Do you remember waking up that Oscar morning and hearing those nominations? And what did that mean to you to just kind of be a part of something like that? Because you probably wouldn't have known that when making the movie, like, oh, we're going to get these Oscar nominations and it'd be this big thing.
Well, actually, this may sound unhumble.
Do it, just say it.
Everybody in the business wanted to be a part of that script and part of that movie. It was such a beautiful movie. And you just knew from the beginning, if Frank could pull this off, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So that it got nominated for those things wasn't a total surprise, because I'd seen the work, I'd seen the people and all the actors, the writing. That it was just had to be grateful that other people saw it as well.
Oh, when it comes to the legacy, what do you still think about all these years later about that time, that movie, and just what comes to mind? Like when you just think about The Green Mile, what comes to mind right away?
Well, I mean, the first thing is I've been all over the world. Everywhere I go in the world, people say, "Oh, I just saw The Green Mile." Oh, it doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't. It's been up until this day. People are saying, "I saw The Green Mile." At the time, critics were kind of harsh on it, and it wasn't considered a success. It's sort of like A Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. That wasn't considered a success at the time, but that movie's in, it's there in all our hearts. Most, if you watch movies, The Green Mile is right up there with that movie.
David, I got the wrap. This has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for the time today. And congrats again. It's what The Green Mile stands for and how it continues to touch so many people. Thank you.
Thank you very much.